The Water Margin, Chapter 30.
Wusong, the legendary tiger slayer.
Right.
When we meet him here, he's technically a military prisoner, exiled to a place called Mengzu. But what's so fascinating, especially for you listening, is watching him go from, an exiled criminal to the most powerful guy in the region almost overnight.
How Wusong turns, a savage public beating into real social and political capital.
We'll look at the specific demands he makes, the immediate spoils for his friend Xian, and then this huge, unexpected pivot. His sudden move from the freedom of a roadside inn right into the home of a powerful military official. A high status, but maybe confining place.
So the fighting part is almost simple. Wusong wins. The real question is what happens after.
Exactly. What happens when a hero's terrifying reputation gets the attention of people who don't just want to be his friend, but who want to use him?
Is this new comfort a reward? Or is it really just a very cleverly constructed trap?
That's the question.
Okay, let's unpack that first scene. The negotiation. This is where his reputation really becomes leverage. Wusong has the local bully, Jiang Mention, completely defeated. He's helpless.
It's absolute. And what's so remarkable is he doesn't need to finish him off. He doesn't even need a weapon. His fame is the weapon.
How so?
He basically cites his resume. He reminds Jiang Mention, very explicitly, that he's the man who killed a tiger on Jingyang Ridge with just 3 punches and 2 kicks.
Wow.
The implication is just terrifyingly clear. If he can do that to a tiger, what chance does a man like Jiang Mention have?
It's pure psychological warfare on top of the physical beating. He calls him worthless by comparison. He's setting up a hierarchy of violence, and he's at the very top.
And from that position, he dictates terms. 3 conditions, non-negotiable.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first is pure economics, restitution. Jiang Mention has to leave Koyalin the Happy Forest immediately.
And give everything back.
Everything. The property, the inventory, the business, all of it goes back to the original owner, Xian. And he has to confess that he took it wrongfully.
So it's a moral victory, not just a financial one. What's the second condition? That one's about honor, isn't it?
Absolutely. The first part is transactional, but the second one, this is about restorative justice for the whole community.
Okay.
He demands that Jiang Mention go and personally invite all the local heroes, the big shots, the powerful neighbors, to the inn.
To do what?
To formally apologize. The phrase is pei hua tu Xian. It's public humiliation. It cements Xian's new status, and by extension, Wusong's authority.
And the third condition is the enforcement, the threat.
Exile. He's forbidden from even staying in Mengzu overnight. And Wusong gives him this chillingly direct warning. He says, if I ever see you again.
He'll beat him again.
But worse, he says, lightly, half dead, severely, I will finish your life. There's no ambiguity. He's creating a new law, enforced by nothing but his own reputation.
And it works. The source says Jiang Mention, beaten up, swollen, bleeding. He just agrees immediately. He just wants to live.
It's a perfect example of turning notoriety into political power without ever setting foot in a courtroom. He becomes the judge and the executioner.
Okay, so now we get to the aftermath. The spoils of war, basically. Xian shows up with his own crew, 20 or 30 fierce military attendants.
Yeah, they're expecting a huge fight, but they find Wusong just sitting there calmly.
And the source gives us this amazing visual detail.
It's incredible. The whole floor is covered in spilled liquor, and Jiang Mention and his woman are found struggling inside a massive wine vat.
Oh, that's perfect.
She climbs out, just dripping with wine, covered in the sticky mess of their ruined business. It's this moment of just dark public comedy. The bully is literally drowning in the profits he stole.
And Wusong immediately gets down to business. He seats Xian above Jiang Mention at this forced reconciliation feast, making the new pecking order crystal clear.
But he's savvy. He manages his own image. He addresses the neighbors and makes it very clear his actions are based on principle.
Right. He says he's not just some hired muscle.
Exactly. He says, I am not Xian's servant. He frames it as helping someone who's suffering an injustice. He says he only wants to beat those unjust people who lack morality. He's maintaining that image of a righteous, independent hero.
Okay, but let me stop you there. This is interesting. He just kicked out one bully, Jiang Mention, and put in another, Xian. What makes Xian any better? Doesn't this just make him the new, better protected boss?
That is the essential question the source makes you ask, and the immediate economic results. They suggest, well, yeah, he stepped into a position of major power.
How major?
Jiang Mention leaves, totally ashamed. And Xian's business, The text says his profits increased by 3 to 5 times.
3 to 5 times. That's a 300 to 500% increase. Just because a famous tiger killer is hanging out at his inn?
And it goes even further. All the other local businesses, the gambling dens, the currency exchanges, they start sending extra money to Xi'an, unsolicited.
So it's basically a new protection scheme.
It's a new localized tax, yeah. And Wusong is the walking, breathing guarantee for it. His reputation creates stability, and everyone pays for it.
That's the pure conversion of reputation into cash.
It is. And Xi'an is incredibly grateful. He treats Wusong like parents, with the highest possible respect. So Wusong settles in for over a month, just enjoying this new status.
And the source really slows down here, gives us this beautiful description of the seasons changing from the peak of summer into a cool, deep autumn.
It's a moment of peace. The calm before the storm. He's resting in this hard-won independence, protected by a friend who actually respects him.
But just as this routine sets in, the political machine shows up. It reminds everyone who's really in charge.
A couple of military attendants arrive with a horse, and they're not just asking for Wusong, they're asking for tiger-slaying Wudutu. They use his official military title.
And the summons is from someone high up.
Very high up. Military supervisor Zhang Mongfeng. And here's the key detail. He's Xi'an's father's boss.
Oh.
So Xi'an gets it immediately. Wusong is still a prisoner on exile. When a superior officer gives a command, you don't argue. The cozy independence is over.
The whole atmosphere just shifts. It goes from friendship to, administrative obligation. And the reception Wusong gets at the supervisor's house is intense.
Zhang Mongfeng plays the part of the perfect patron, just over-the-top enthusiasm. He calls Wusong a great man, invincible hero, and he immediately gives him an official position. Personal confidant, part of the inner circle.
And the environment completely changes. He goes from a loud, busy inn to this rigid, formal official's residence. They're trying to domesticate him with comfort.
Exactly. They give him a private room, they keep him supplied with food and wine, and then, the most significant detail, they bring in tailors to make him a whole new set of autumn clothes from the inside out.
They're literally remaking him.
They're integrating him into the household. He's allowed free access throughout the house. He's becoming part of the family.
But this favor has a price. He's not there to relax.
No. He quickly realizes he's being kept constantly busy. His new job is to be an intermediary, a go-between for people who want favors from the supervisor.
So if you want the supervisor to look at your petition, you have to go through the famous Tiger Slayer first.
That's a golden cage. Zhang Mongfeng isn't using Wusong's fighting skills. He's using his reputation for, well, fear and integrity.
Is he being used to intimidate people into paying more? Or is it just a sign of the supervisor's power, that even Wusong answers to him?
It's likely both. He's a filter and he's a symbol. And for this service, Wusong gets paid. Richly. Gold, silver, silks, the gifts just pour in. He's becoming genuinely wealthy.
And the source gives us that one perfect, telling detail that captures his new status.
The willow rattan box.
Right.
He stores all his new wealth, the gold, the silver, in a willow rattan box that he locks. Think about that. He went from a guy with nothing but his reputation to a man who needs a locked box for his political earnings.
That box is the physical symbol of his new life. And the excerpt ends with this beautiful description of the Mid-Autumn Festival. Everything on the surface looks perfect.
He's reached the absolute peak of success for someone from his background.
So what does this all mean? He goes from fighting for justice on the roadside to, well, enjoying luxury in an office, all in just a couple of months. It's such a sharp contrast between brute force and subtle administrative power.
The synthesis is pretty clear. Wusong's fame from killing the tiger is his only currency. It worked on the street bully Jiang mentioned. But that same fame is then, weaponized by the official, Zhang Mongfeng, who sees it as a powerful administrative tool.
One man, Xi'an, treats him like a father. The other, Zhang Mongfeng, seems to treat him purely as an asset, a tool.
It's a shift from a gift economy built on friendship to a transactional economy built on leverage, and that comes with a heavy price.
He has his locked box full of his new warm clothes.
But the source notes the constraint. He's now confined to the official house. He's kept so busy he can't even visit his loyal friend Xi'an anymore.
Okay, let's get into the setup, the lure.
During the Mid-Autumn Festival. A night for family, for poetry.
The perfect cover.
The perfect cover for absolute malice.
It's all about psychological disarmament at first, right?
Exactly. The man pulling the strings here is Zhang Dudian, the district commander, and he invites our hero, Wu Song, to this lavish feast at the Mandarin Duck Tower.
You have to remember, Wu Song is technically a convict. He's a prisoner. So he knows his place.
He does. He tries to refuse. He says, I'm just a prisoner. The madam is here, the family. He's citing protocol.
But that's part of the trap.
It's the core of the trap.
Yeah.
Zhang Dudian just laughs it off. He doesn't just dismiss Wu Song's status. He flips it entirely. He insists Wu Song sit down like family.
Wow.
He frames the whole night as a celebration of Wu Song, the righteous hero. And this public praise from an authority figure, it's an incredible pressure tactic.
He completely disarms him. He has to drop his guard. He feels indebted, flat.
Socially obligated. And once that's done, they move to the physical control, the alcohol.
Right, so he's seated, and then the focus is just drink.
Constantly. Zhang Dudian keeps pushing him, and they move from these small cups to what the source calls the Daiyin Shengzong.
The large silver reward cup.
The large silver reward cup. And it's not just about volume, it's about speed. He's urged to drink quickly, and pretty soon he's half drunk. He's forgetting protocol. His caution is gone.
So he's embedded. He's impaired.
And now they introduce the final perfect element.
The human bait.
The human bait. The singing girl, Yulan, Jade Orchid.
And the text really lingers on her description, which feels so intentional.
Oh, absolutely. It's a key part of the trap. She's got a lotus face, cherry lips, eyes like autumn water. She represents everything Wu Song, this wandering, banished hero, can't have.
Its domesticity as a weapon.
It perfectly put. And then her performance, she sings this famous sushi poem, the Mid-Autumn Water Melody. It's all about longing for loved ones under the moon.
So it's this incredibly beautiful, emotional moment.
A cultured facade for a very, very base betrayal that's happening right in front of him. It's designed to just melt away any professionalism he has left.
And then Zhang Dudian drops the hammer, the final hook.
He does. He stands up and publicly announces that he's going to give Yulan to Wu Song as a wife in a few days.
An offer of status, a home, a future, everything.
Everything. And even though Wu Song tries to refuse, he says, I am not worthy, Zhang Dudian is firm. At that moment, Wu Song's last defenses are just gone.
You have to think about the depth of this setup. It's not just wine. They gave him a vision of a future he desperately wanted.
The deception is total. He's overwhelmed with gratitude, he's drunk, and he's looking forward to a new life. And that emotional peak, that's the signal.
That's the moment they switch from the psychological to the physical.
The trap is about to spring.
Right. So it's this this perfectly choreographed transition. Wu Song is half drunk. He's energized by all these false promises, and he leaves the main hall.
He's too restless to sleep. So what does he do? He grabs his staff, his shabang, and he goes out to the corridor to practice in the moonlight.
He's still a warrior. He's still vigilant.
Vigilant, yes, but distracted. He's armed, but he's not expecting an attack from inside the house that just promised him a bride.
And then comes the cue.
A loud cry, "Thief!" from the back hall.
This is where his own good nature betrays him.
They are counting on it. He remembers Zhang Dudian's kindness, or what he thinks is kindness, and he just rushes in to help, staff in hand, ready to save and protect him.
And who does he see first?
Yulan, the beautiful singing girl. She's pretending to panic, and she points him straight toward the back garden.
The choke point. She's literally directing him into the ambush.
Exactly. He goes into the garden, finds nothing, and as he's coming back, the trap springs. And it's not some grand fight, it's a cheap trick.
Just a board bench.
A heavy board bench thrown out of the darkness. It trips him instantly, and before he can even get up, 7 or 8 soldiers are on him shouting, "Catch the thief!"
And he's yelling, "It's me!"
It's me, I'm Wu Song. But they don't listen. They beat him with clubs and drag him right back to Zhang Dudian. And the commander's whole demeanor has changed.
Mask is off.
Completely. He just berates Wu Song, says he knew all along that he had a thief's heart and thief's liver, despite all his generosity.
So in one breath, they destroy his reputation. The righteous hero narrative is gone. He's just another violent convict.
Reverted to type. And once that public story is set, they move to the next step, the physical evidence.
You need to make it legal.
Right. Zhang Dudian immediately orders them to search Wu Song's room for the stolen goods.
And of course, they find him instantly.
Instantly. They open his personal wicker trunk, his Luteng Xiangzi, and right there, under his clothes, are the silver wine vessels worth 1 to 200 taels.
He's speechless. What can he even say?
All he can manage is a cry of injustice. He's been framed so perfectly, so flawlessly, he has no defense.
And this is where the speed of the institutional corruption is just chilling.
It is terrifying. This isn't a slow, careful investigation. Zhang Dudian seals the evidence and reports the theft to the prefect of Zifu overnight.
The highest local judge.
The highest judge. If you get him, you get the whole system. And the text is explicit about this part.
It says he bribes everyone.
Everyone. The secretaries, the yashi, the clerks, the kongmu. Before the sun even comes up, the entire system is bought and paid for.
That speed tells you everything. This is a pre-planned operation.
Absolutely. The enforcement and the judiciary all secured in less than 12 hours. So the trial the next day is just a show.
A complete sham.
The prefect, who's already taken the money, just dismisses Wu Song's plea. He points to his status as a convict and says, well, of course he's a thief. Case closed.
And then comes the beating.
A severe beating with bamboo rods. The trial is just a formality to get to the torture.
Which is where they get the confession.
The false confession. Under torture, she's forced to recite their story, that he saw the silver, had an impulse to seize the wealth, Jian Kai, and stole it.
That lie becomes the legal truth.
It does, and the verdict is immediate. The prefect signs the confession, and Wu Song is put into a massive wooden yoke, a long kang.
And taken straight to death row.
The Siki Lao, feet shackled, hands pinned. He is completely neutralized, legally condemned. It's just an unbelievably efficient destruction of a man.
The takeaway here is just the raw efficiency of it, from a banquet to death row in under 24 hours.
And it required everyone to be on board. The police, the courts, the jailers, all bought with money.
So the story should end there. He's trapped, he's marked for execution. How does he possibly survive this?
Well, this is where we see the full scope of the conspiracy and the crucial role of outside help. It starts with Shi-en.
The friend he made earlier.
Right. When Shi-en hears what happened, he and his father immediately figure it out. This wasn't a random frame-up. This was targeted vengeance.
And this is so important for you, the listener, to grasp. The motive is what drove the scale of this corruption. It all comes back to Jiang Mention.
The man Wu Song defeated earlier. He wanted revenge, so he bribed his powerful friend, Zhang Tuanlian, who then paid off the district commander, Zhang Dudian, to set the whole thing in motion.
It's a chain of corruption right from the top.
And that's confirmed by the jailer, Kang Jiji. He tells Shi-en, yes, everyone's been bribed. The prefect is fully committed to killing Wu Song because of Jiang Mention's money. The system is locked.
So how do you break a locked system?
You start with money. Shi-en first bribes the jailer, Kang Jiji, with 100 taels just to make sure Wu Song is treated decently in prison. But that's just a band-aid.
It doesn't solve the death sentence.
No. And this is where Kang Jiji provides the key piece of information, the one weak point in the whole corrupt machine.
There's one honest man.
There is one honest clerk, Yi Kongmu. He refused the bribe, and because of him, this one guy, the final judgment, is being held up.
So he's the only chance.
He is the only chance. Kang's advice is simple. Focus everything on Yi Kongmu. Appeal to his sense of justice and, send him a gift to get him to move the case out of death row classification.
So Xian sends another 100 taels.
He does. And what Yi Kongmu does next is fascinating. He already knows Wu Song is innocent. But the gift from Xian, it's not seen as a bribe to break the law, but a plea to expedite justice. So he decides to use his bureaucratic knowledge to help.
He revises the documents. What does that actually mean?
Well, he's a clerk. He can't just throw out a signed confession. The prefect approved it. But what he can do is change the legal classification of the crime. He knows the legal code, and he knows that even theft of that amount of silver doesn't automatically mean a death sentence. So he softens the language in the official report. He reframes the charge.
He's basically downgrading the crime on paper.
Exactly. He makes sure the legal language is, as the text says, alive, meaning it can be appealed. It's not a final death decree.
Right.
By changing the charge classification, he makes it impossible for them to execute Wu Song immediately.
That is a stunning move, using the bureaucracy against itself.
It's bureaucratic integrity as a counterweapon. The entire system, this flawless machine of corruption, is stopped in its tracks, briefly at least, by one mid-level clerk who knew the rules and had a conscience.
So Wu Song is on death row in Mengzu prison. But instead of, facing justice for what he actually did, he's being set up by the local bigwigs, led by a guy named Zhang Dujian.
And the whole legal punishment is just a show. It's a death sentence, really, just disguised as an order for exile. How this corruption worked, how his friends tried to save him, and I think this is the best part, how one whispered warning gave Wu Song everything he needed to turn the tables on his would-be executioners. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's the ultimate lesson in, like, paying attention. This is the moment Wusong realizes the system is completely broken, and his survival depends on seeing the signs of betrayal.
Okay, so let's get into it, starting with Wusong in the deepest, darkest part of the prison. So we start with Wusong locked up, basically on death row, but right away, his friend, Xian, is risking everything to help him out.
Everything. The text says he visited the prison 3 times, even after this whole thing became, super political.
I mean, that kind of risk, it shows incredible loyalty, maybe desperation too.
It absolutely does. And these weren't just friendly visits. It was all about transactions. That's how you survive the system.
He wasn't just bringing good cheer.
No, he was bringing currency. He passed around a lot of silver, something like 20 to 30 taels to the junior jailers. And he used that to sort of soften up the head jailer, Kanjiji.
So what did that silver actually buy Wusong on the inside?
It bought him comfort, for sure. But more than that, it bought him space and leverage. The source is really clear. It says the money immediately eased his restrictive confinement.
So he can move around more, talk to people.
Exactly. Think about it. Death row inmates were usually chained up, kept in isolation. So easing that means he can eat better, talk to people, and, most importantly, he could get intelligence without everyone getting suspicious. This wasn't mercy. It was a service Xian paid for.
And intelligence is exactly what Xian delivered. This was about more than just keeping him comfortable.
Yes. During one of those visits, Xian leans in and basically whispers the truth. He says, look, this whole case is a setup. It's all being run by the supervising commandant, Zhang Dujian, to get revenge for his buddy Jiang Menchen.
The guy Wusong beat up earlier.
The very same.
Yeah.
So it's not about guilt or innocence. It's a hit, just using, the government's resources to do it.
And at the same time, Xian is also trying to work the system from the inside. He's talking to the recording clerk, a guy named Yu Kongmu, trying to fix it legally.
Right, so he's trying both angles. He's got the street smarts with the bribes and the political game with the clerk.
But that's where things start to go wrong.
That's the thing, right? Someone always notices. Xian's 3rd visit. It got spotted by spies for another official, Zhang Tuanlian, and they ran right back to Zhang Dujian.
So Zhang Dujian now knows that Wusong still has friends trying to pull strings.
And he realizes his whole revenge plot is at risk. So he doesn't mess around. He counter-bribes, and he really ups the ante. He sends gold and silk directly to the prefect.
The top guy in the city.
The very top.
Well, that's a political checkmate, isn't it? Once the guy at the top takes a bribe, all the lower-level deals are off.
Instantly. And the consequences were immediate. The prefects start sending inspectors to the prison constantly, cracking down on any special treatment.
Which cuts Xian off completely.
Yep. It became way too risky to visit. So Xian could only get little bits of news through the head jailer's household. Much slower and probably not as reliable.
So his friends' efforts, which worked at first, were just overpowered by more money and more power.
It's a perfect example of how justice back then wasn't about the law. It was about who had the deepest pockets and the most political muscle.
So that political maneuvering drags things out, but eventually the 60-day legal limit is up. A judgment has to be made.
Right.
And this is where we see this this fascinating bit of hypocrisy from the prefect himself.
It's such a great detail. The source just calls him a corrupt official, straight up. But even this guy has a line he won't cross.
A very strange one.
A very strange one. He figures out that Zhang Dujian took a ton of silver from Jiang Menchen specifically to frame Wusong.
And his thinking is just amazing. He's basically like, wait, you took the money and now you expect me to do the dirty work.
Exactly. It's not like he suddenly grew a conscience. It's more like professional courtesy among thieves. He feels like he's being used, that Zhang Dujian is profiting from this murder plot that he has to sign off on.
And that annoyance, that greed, is what saves Wusong from an immediate death sentence.
It is. So the official sentence gets negotiated, mostly by that sympathetic clerk, Ye Kongmu, and it still sounds terrible. I mean, 20 strokes with the rod, branding on the face with the golden seal.
Which is permanent.
Oh, yeah. And then exile to Enzu Fortress. On paper, your life is over.
And what about the stolen goods he was framed with?
Well, that's part of the theater. In court, Zhang Dujian's family formally comes forward and claims the stolen stuff. So the prefect is seen to be following the process.
But the physical punishment isn't as bad as it sounds.
No. And this is key. The source says the strokes were delivered lightly. It was this sort of a perfect storm of factors. The old warden had paid some final bribes, the clerk was protecting him, and, crucially, the prefect knew the whole thing was a sham.
So they go through the motions to keep Zhang Dujian happy politically. But they pull their punches to protect themselves legally. Plausible deniability.
That's it, exactly.
All right.
But the setup isn't over. Wusong is then fitted with this massive 7.5 jin iron plate panhead kang.
7.5 jin. That's like, what, 9 or 10 pounds of iron around your neck?
At least. It's not just heavy, it's huge, restrictive. It's a statement. It's a yoke.
Wow.
And then he's handed over to 2 strong constables to escort him. So the stage is set for a long journey, or a very, very short one.
So Wusong, with this giant Kong around his neck, is led out of the city. He's barely gone a short distance when his friend Xian shows up one last time.
And you can see right away what's happened to Xian. His head is wrapped, his arm is in a sling.
Oh, wow.
He tells Wusong that right after he was arrested, Jiang Mention and his thugs went back to Joyful Forest, beat him half to death, and took his inn back. So he's still recovering.
So he's not just a friend, he's a fellow victim.
Exactly. And he brings these really practical gifts: padded jackets, silver for the road, some sandals, and 2 cooked geese. And he tries to offer the constable some wine. You know, be friendly.
And this is the moment. This is the big tell.
This is everything. The constables flat out refuse. They call Wusong a thief, say they're afraid of getting in trouble. Then Xian offers them a bribe, 10 taels of silver, which is a lot of money. And they still refuse. They actually get angry.
That's the biggest red flag imaginable. Any normal escort would have taken the silver and the wine in a heartbeat.
Of course. So now you know. The bribe they've already taken from Zhang Dujian is worth way more than 10 taels. Their mission isn't escorting.
It's assassination.
And Xian sees it too. He knows it's a death march. So he does the last thing he can. He ties the bundle of clothes and silver to Wusong's waist and then hangs the 2 cooked geese right on the iron kang.
So he's passing on critical intel right under their noses.
Precisely. And then he leans in and whispers the warning. Be careful of these 2. He calls them Zainanu, rascals, and says they are Bu Huaihai, ill-intentioned. He confirms the trap is real.
And Wusong just takes that in. He doesn't react. He doesn't fight. He just starts preparing. This part is just so dramatic. Wusong knows he's walking to his own execution, so he starts eating the geese right off the kang. He eats both of them over the next few miles.
It's an incredible bit of psychological prep. He's fueling his body, but he's also putting on a show, right? He's ignoring the constables, pretending to be lost in thought, just focused on the food.
Meanwhile, they're probably getting more and more nervous.
Oh, for sure.
Huh.
So they finally reach the ambush spot. It's this desolate waterway, a fish port called Flying Cloud Ford, Fune Pu. It's remote, quiet.
Yeah.
The perfect place for a murder you can blame on an escape attempt.
And sure enough, there are guys waiting.
Yep. 2 more men, and they're armed with these huge staff broadswords, pudao, and waist knives. And Wusong sees it all. He sees the little looks, the winks and nods between his escorts and the ambushers.
Shinan's warning confirmed right there in front of him. So what does he do?
He acts instantly, with total cunning. He stops and pretends he needs to relieve himself. Jingshou. It just buys him a few feet of space.
Just
Just enough. As the 2 armed guys move in, thinking he's helpless, Wusong just yells, "Get down!"
And then it's just this explosion of rage and strength.
First, he kicks both the armed men straight into the river. He neutralizes the biggest threat immediately. But then comes the real moment of defiance. As his 2 escorts turn to run, he grabs that 10-pound iron kang.
The symbol of his oppression.
And he twists it, and he snaps it in half. Ziziyang bang, he breaks it.
Wow. He's not just freeing himself from the iron, he's severing his ties with the state, with the law that tried to kill him.
It's a total rejection of their authority.
Yeah.
He then grabs one of the dropped broadswords, hunts down the 2 running constables who planned his murder, and brutally kills them both.
But he's not finished. He turns back to the water.
No, he's not finished. He pulls the 2 struggling men out of the river, kills one of them on the spot, and holds a blade to the last one. And he interrogates him. This is where he gets the final piece of the puzzle.
And what does the guy confess?
Everything. He says they're disciples of Jiang Mention, sent to help kill Wusong. But the crucial part is, he reveals where the victory party is happening right then.
No way.
Yes, they're all celebrating in Zhang Dujian's rear hall in the Mandarin Duck Tower. And who's there? Same Dujian, Zhang Tuanlian, and Jiang Mention himself. All 3 of them, drinking and waiting for the news that Wusong is dead.
Celebrating a murder before it's even been committed, that is just the height of arrogance.
It seals their fate. Wusong kills the last man, takes the best knife for himself, and throws all 4 bodies in the river. He even stabs them again in the water, just to be sure. There's no mercy left in him at all.
The whole plot was so meticulous, right? Use the legal system to get him to a remote spot, kill him, and then just say he tried to escape.
It's extrajudicial execution built right into the system.
And that moment at the ford, the breaking of the Kang, it changes everything for Wusong. He's not an exile anymore. He's an agent of pure vengeance.
And his next move proves it. He doesn't keep going to Enzu. He turns around. He decides to go back to Mengzu City armed with this perfect intelligence, knowing exactly where his enemies are.